Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble. Gambling is a very serious business.
Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We got a great show coming up for you. Being a startup in the gaming industry is very challenging. First, you have to have a great idea that could impact the gaming industry. And secondly, you have to have the know-how to make money with your idea in the gaming industry. Well, it just became a little easier for startups because a new organization just launched. It's called Defy the Odds, and it was created by incredible industry professionals. We're going to have a couple of the founders coming up. Paris Smith and Sue Schneider will be on to talk all about this brand new launchpad for startups and how they'll make your business successful in the gambling industry. When we come back, we're talking Defy the Odds, so stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards. Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of November 18th, 2024. The casino project in Petersburg, Virginia got a big boost from the voters of the state. Live Casino Resort, which will be co-developed by the Cordish Companies and Bruce Smith Enterprise, garnered over 80% support of Petersburg residents in the recent casino referendum. The proposed $1.4 billion live casino resort received the highest support for a casino referendum in Virginia history. The world's first $2 million Dragon Link games by Aristocrat Gaming premiered recently at the Venetian Las Vegas. The new games can be found at the Venetian High Limit Slot Salon and the Palazzo High Limit Gaming Lounge. Recently, Dragon Link was named the top-performing proprietary branded game at the 2023 EKG Awards. And finally, BetMGM and Borgata Poker announced that it is combining its Michigan and New Jersey player pools for its online platform. This is the first time that the brand has ever shared liquidity across state lines. This is possible because both states are members of the Multi-State Internet Gaming Agreement. According to BetMGM, combining the markets mean more players and bigger prize pools. Have any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation? Send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on X at HOC Radio.
You're listening to House of Cards. Check us out at houseofcardsradio.com.
We must get her back.
I'll be satisfied if we get her half back.
I'll take a quarter back. In fact, I'll take Notre Dame in 2 points.
Oh, you want 2 points?
I certainly do.
Well, you got her.
Oh!
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here. House of Cards is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The great thing about working in the gaming industry is that it's challenging and always exciting because it's always changing. It's always changing because some smart entrepreneur or startup has an amazing idea to make the industry better. And there's something new that has been created called Defy the Odds that will help startups reach their goal in the gaming industry. It's the brainchild of incredible industry professionals, two of which are on the line with us right now, Paris Smith and Sue Schneider, who's been on the show several times. Paris, welcome to the show, and Sue, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Great to have you both on. You know, one of the great things about doing the show is we get listeners who work in the gaming industry, but are also people who don't work in the industry, but who are interested in how this industry works and how people get started in the gaming industry. I want to ask you both about your backgrounds and what led you to work in the gaming industry. And since Sue has been on the show several times, I'm going to give Paris the honor of going first to answer this question. So, Paris, you've had an amazing achievements in this business. Tell everyone out there about your background in the gaming industry.
So I started 29 years ago, and I was in Antigua, and I was a clerk that took bets. So I started at the very bottom before it was even an industry. There is, people would come over to our office in Antigua from different islands and not even understand that you need different departments. It was just, you have a clerk that takes bets. Most of the time it was actually a professional bookmaker. Mm-hmm. And then the guy that I worked for decided to, you don't need to be a pro to type something in a computer. And we hired all women. So I did that company for 11 years. I helped run that. And then in 2006, I had the luxury to come over to Curacao and start with Pinnacle. It was an absolute monster of a company. Yeah. If you can't beat them, join them. Yeah, right. So that's, I was kind of annoyed being a competitor. And then when I came over, immediately, I came over in August, and then UIGA had passed. And basically the idea was, here's a person who's been very operational, very pragmatic. Let's get her in here. So when we are going to pull the trigger to pull out of the US market, we've got somebody who can actually execute that. And that was one of the main reasons why I was brought in. And then in 2007, January 11th, Pinnacle pulled out of the US market. So it's been, I have a very broad global view of gaming in itself, and I've absolutely loved it. But I was also, in a very specific niche space. So fast forward the 17 years, joining Defy the Odds was really that opportunity to give back to the industry and get more involved with the new and exciting, innovative startups and even the existing companies that are out there.
Sue, as I said, you've been on this show several times, and we know your incredible work with SBC, which is an amazing organization that does great things for the gaming industry. Tell us something about your background and what led you to Defy the Odds.
Sure. Well, like Paris, I got started in 95 and really have pretty much always been on the events and publication side of the industry. So I had a very broad view. And again, like her, very global. Mm-hmm. So I had built up a company that had events all around the world. I think we had about 7 of them that we sold to Clarion in 2006. And then I had been involved kind of dabbling in a variety of things. And then 6 years ago, after the Supreme Court decision, I kind of played around with starting up again and decided, no, that I didn't want to do that. So I got with my friends at SBC and said, if you plan to come across the pond into the U.S., and let me know. And so the rest was history in terms of helping them build up things here in the U.S., in Canada, in LATAM. So it's been a fun ride. Yeah. And our other partner, Kelly Ken, has been in the business also a long time. I think collectively we figured out we have about 80 years of experience in the industry, which for a young industry is kind of remarkable. But all of us over the last couple of years have done more with startups. Paris has been involved with angel investing. Kelly was involved with a VC firm. I've been helping SBC with their startup pitch competition, their first pitch competitions that they've run in a couple of events. So we've been exposed more and more to the startup community within the industry. And this is an industry that thrives on innovation and needs innovation. So for us, it was just kind of a natural step to look at that. And all 3 of us also have been involved with a variety of initiatives to help get women more involved and just get more diversity in the industry, which has been a pretty male-dominated industry. So that's part of our focus with this, is try to look at, whether it's people of color, women, so just a little bit different. We looked at the startups out there, and a lot of the founders looked pretty much the same. So we thought we'd shake it up a little bit if we can.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-733-6860. 800-733-6860.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need. It's never been easier or more affordable than right now to get the bathroom of your dreams. We have the best monthly programs in the industry with payments as low as $99 per month or no payments, no interest for 18 months with approved credit. The hardest part of your new bathroom is gutting and building the tub and shower. If your bathing area is old, there could be damage behind the walls and possible mold and mildew, which can be a serious safety issue. At BCI, we don't cover a problem, we fix it. Call now to get a never clean glass treated door with a no-track system at half off for the first 50 callers. Factory trained, certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military. Call 800-755-0466. That's 800-755-0466.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Whoa! I think we got a show.
Oh, yeah, we got a show.
We definitely got a show.
Oh, yeah, there's a show. Hey, it's all about ratings, baby, and we got them.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Paris Smith and Sue Schneider from Defy the Odds. How did Defy the Odds get created? I mean, I love origin stories, so I'd love to hear how this all came together. Were you talking one day at a conference? Did all of you see something that was missing in the gaming industry? What led to the creation of Defy the Odds? This is for both of you. I'd love to hear both of your versions of the story.
Better said by Paris. Because Paris was really the one that initiated it. She goes, come down to Curacao, let's talk. So,
oh, there you go.
I'll let you tell that story.
So, yeah, we're all going, I had another company called Life Winning, which does the more of the investment side, a little bit of advising and consulting. And, Sue, she has created, Sue and Kelly together, something called CEOs. And that's become, going from 30 women CEOs, directors, and founders to over, I think we're almost at 150 now. Sue can correct me. And I thought, gosh, there's probably more we could do with that. And then, of course, Kelly is all in diversity. And I thought, we all have stuff that we're working on. These are the people that I trust and respect in the industry at the highest level. Why don't you guys come down to Curacao and let's have like a brainstorm session? And everything just kind of, after we looked at everything, and as you said, we did see some gaps. Mm-hmm. Like, the first question is, well, where are the women? I was always, generally speaking, the only woman in the room for decades. Now, obviously, it's gotten much better. But it can always improve more. So then we thought, let's let's do something together. What do you want at this stage of your career? Everybody wants to work with people that they adore, respect, and we all have the same passion for the industry and the desire to help people. So I think it was just a really cool, natural fit that we had the whole boards out by the swimming pool, maybe a little Prosecco to keep the creative juices flowing.
I love your business method. I love your business method.
Right?
It's great. It's awesome.
Go big or go home.
There you go.
And it worked. Yeah. And then it just kept, then we kind of threw the idea around. Obviously, we have tons of our networks are just massive. And we keep coming back to each other saying, God, everybody loves it. Everybody wants to know when we're going to get started. So we kind of put it out there and everybody's like, so where are you at now? We're like, well, we got it. We have it out there. I don't know what else you want. And then now we're formalizing everything and it's really getting exciting, but I'll let Sue continue on.
Well, it was kind of amusing because we just before SBC's kind of global summit in Lisbon, and then right after that G2E, we had announced it, even though we weren't quite organized. I mean, we just got a bank account set up. But we were incorporated by that time. But, we're still kind of fleshing out exactly how it's going to work as we get into the meat of the services that we're doing. So, we kind of told everybody, well, give us about a month to get ourselves organized and then we'll talk about it. Because the reaction to all three of us, I mean, many of us have had different people approach us, whether it's people in the industry that are interested in getting involved and helping, whether it's ideas, whether it's the founders. I mean, we're already evaluating probably 8 to 10 different founders out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we probably are going to be announcing pretty soon kind of the first tranche of folks that we're going to be working with to try to help them, as well as working with the bigger companies. I mean, I think that's what's really important is that you don't want to be stale. This is an industry that the consumers demand new things and innovation. So, and I'm not sure we've really, as an industry, risen to that challenge yet. So that's really what we want to focus on, is try to figure out how to get some new ideas, products, and innovations out there. That's kind of the bottom line with it.
That kind of leads me into my next question. What do you both think will be unique about Defy the Odds for the gaming industry? What do you think will set Defy the Odds apart? Will it be the type of startups you work with? Will it be the type of clients you work with? What are both your goals for Defy the Odds? Paris, why don't you start up?
I think the goal is, we've been around so long, we've made our mistakes. For me, I just want to help people get there faster and more efficient. And, you see people that have these brilliant ideas and just get them to the right group of the network. There's so many different characters, if you will, within our industry. And, we have great relationships with many of them, but, there's certain groups that complement other people more than others. And, so to really help them get established and really start creating what they want to create within the industry. And when I say they, it's people that have reached out or they're not even sure where to go. And then they see, oh, there's 3 ladies, Defy the Odds. Let's reach out to them. Oh, yeah. I've heard of them. Oh, I heard them on a podcast. And then, it's anybody who has had a bit of a schluck up the hill trying to figure this out. We're there for them. So we do have a lot of women that just have that comfort level. It's more of a safe zone for them, obviously, giving us their ideas. And we didn't know how much was out there. And that's what, Sue and Kelly were so adamant, like, people are going to come crawling out of the woodwork. And it has been that way. And it's been some really phenomenal groups.
Yeah, just to add to that and to be kind of methodical about it. I mean, one of the things we've talked about is to be able to vet startups, because I think even a lot of the established companies in the industry get outreach to them from startups. Some of them are great. Some of them, they don't really have anything new and different. So I think part of it is, from our perspectives anyway, to be able to go back and say, yeah, this one seems like it's a winner. So, I think doing that to begin with, helping them with what our partner Kelly likes to call social capital, which is basically the relationships, whether it's for investors, whether it's for customers, whether it's for strategic partners, whatever, we kind of know who's out there. I have a personal interest in trying to expand the universe of investors. I mean, there are a number of investors that are kind of ones that everybody knows about in the industry, but there are other ones out there that I think would be really, really good. For example, there are a number of VC firms that aim at women founders or minority founders or whatever, but they've stayed away from gaming because they're scared to death of it. So I'd like to spend some time educating those folks and letting them know that it's not something to be afraid of. It's a highly regulated industry, and just kind of hold their hand through that. And then I think the flip side of it is I'd also like to reach out to incubators that are out there, accelerators, universities and things like that, to expand the pool of people that may have an idea cooking that, again, they just don't know enough about the industry to know that it would be useful for this industry. Because we like to say this is aiming at the gaming industry, but adjacent to it. So, I mean, some of the founders that we're talking with are ones that are related to fan engagement and things like that. They're still going to tie in really with gaming in some way, but just to kind of expand that pool so that we get, more ideas and more innovation that can come into the industry, and also to encourage the more established companies to look at it. Maybe they have entrepreneurs, people that are trying to start new services up within their companies and provide some support to them. So, we're just trying to expand that pool.
Sue, you almost predicted my next question. I mean, the amazing thing about Defy the Odds is you both have so much experience in the gaming industry, along with a lot of contacts in this business. I'm curious, how will you determine what projects you work with? What is the process for both of you? Do you both have certain criteria that you look for in a project, or is it sometimes the case of, hey, I like it when I see it, and my gut feeling says this is going to be important to the industry? Paris, why don't you start that off? Do you have criteria that you're looking for in a project?
Well, for me, it's the entrepreneur. When we're talking to people, the level of understanding and energy, their ability to listen and pivot if required, those are really important to me. And then a lot of it is gut instinct and, what makes sense. So once you hear it, if they know what they're talking about, it's crystal clear. If they're kind of like, I'm kind of thinking about something, for me, I've been part of an organization for so many years. When you talk about developing something, talk is cheap. You got to have a product. So, it's, I prefer to see something that has had a bit of sweat equity or, some bootstrapping in the very beginning. And then, now they're trying to scale. I personally, when I invest, I love to look at that. But from Defy the Odds, it's really, how can we provide assistance to guide them? Well, do we understand what their specific product is, and do we feel like we can reach out to the right people to support them? And then eventually the next phase is going to be, how much bandwidth do we have?
How about Sue? Do you have boxes that you check when you are faced with, what projects you want to work with, or do you rely on gut feeling as well?
Well, there's a lot of that, but I think part of it is just looking at what the industry needs. A lot of, I've kind of joked about it a number of times. I probably shouldn't, but I can tell you many, many times over the years, you get a call from somebody, I have this new idea. I'm going to revolutionize the industry. They always use that term. And, and a lot of times you'll look at it and you think, not so much, because it's been tried or it's, whatever. But they may not know that because they don't have the history and they don't have the, the relationships. That's been the value of me being on the event and editorial side, because, I've had a chance over 30 years to see what all's been out there and what's been tried and what's worked, what hasn't worked. So, but I think I tend to go more, having been a founder of myself a couple times in the past, that it really gets down to the entrepreneur and, whether they have the passion for it, whether they can learn. Because again, I think the value that we bring is just knowing the industry. And many of these people do not have that. So if they're a quick learner and can take advantage of it, and whether they really see the vision for themselves. A couple of people that we've talked with, we came out of the calls with them saying, this could be so much bigger than they are looking at right now. Yeah. So, it's fun to watch, and every case is very, very different. But, a lot of it just gets down to the founder.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side. Sign up at jackpot.com and you can bet on the world's best lotteries where the biggest jackpots are up for grabs. Powerball, Mega Millions, some of the biggest lotteries can be found at jackpot.com. Simply choose your lotto game, pick your numbers, or use their quick pick feature, and you're done. Sign up at jackpot.com with code DRAW24 and get a free lottery ticket with your first deposit. Jackpot.com, it's the world of lotto in your hand. Terms and conditions apply. You must be at least 18 years old and in the United States to play. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Interest rates and inflation are out of control. Is your credit card debt also out of control? It's time to resolve your debt and take back control for a lot less than what you owe. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, then you need to call us right now. Debt Fix Pros can significantly reduce the amount you owe, and you could be debt-free faster than you think.
I knew we had to do something. Our debt was growing.
It was getting out of control, and we just didn't know what to do.
We saw an ad for Debt Fix Pros. We called, and they showed us how fast they could get us out of debt.
It really was amazing, and now we're back in control.
Call now, and we'll show you how easy it is to fix your debt. The call and consultation are free. Call Debt Fix Pros right now at 800-479-3522. That's 800-479-3522. 800-479-3522.
With costs going up, Adam & Eve is the best deal around. With 50% off a sexy adult product at adamandeve.com. That's 50% off right now when you point the camera on your smartphone at the code on the screen. Don't get up. Just open your camera and point it at the screen. Hurry! You'll also get 10 free gifts, including free discreet shipping at checkout. This is your chance to get more for less. So scan now for 50% off plus 10 free gifts from adamandeve.com.
If you don't have final expense life insurance, this message is for you. LifeCare provides valuable information about whole life insurance to help cover final expenses, medical bills, burial costs, and other final expenses. A final expense life insurance policy is fast and available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exam, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral costing $9,420 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses. Your premium will never increase. Your policy will have a cash value and a death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense life insurance with a lifetime lock, call 800-601-9488. That's 800-601-9488.
You're listening to House of Cards.
And the baccarat, boo, 20 carats, 7 card stud, blackjack, and craps too. I'm just a fool for gambling.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Paris Smith and Sue Schneider from Defy the Odds. I'm really glad you brought that up. I mean, I've always thought of how challenging it can be as a startup in the gaming industry because in my mind, you have to hit a couple of benchmarks. First, is the idea and the concept great and important and creative and make a real impact in the gaming industry? And second, can they take that idea and make it successful through their day-to-day business operations? Have you found that the idea is great? However, what needs to be more developed is the business that will make the money based on the idea. I mean, what will Defy the Odds role be if you see a great idea, but it's just the daily business part of it that needs to be modified a bit? Paris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think that's where we'd come in more as an advisor to really help guide and just give them, that support. The nice thing is, we all have some form of operational expertise that we can provide. I have a saying, not all startups are created equal. Mm-hmm. And if it's an idea that you're passionate about, do a double check and make sure that it's actually a requirement in the industry. I have a little joke about, and I shouldn't say it, but I can't help myself. The exchanges, everybody has a revolutionary exchange, as Sue pointed out. So,
sure.
it's really, I think, just helping them really understand how do you get to that point where this is something that people are going to look at seriously as well, because especially if you're looking for money and investors, you need that.
I think the overlay that we have to continue to put in, if we were talking startups from 10, 15 years ago, it was a different story. Today, because of the regulatory overlay, it's even more difficult for startups, because if they're a supplier, for example, and they want to go into the U.S. and they want to go into 10, 15 states, being able to get licensed is a very expensive venture. So that's where, again, that maybe they need to do that through a partnership with an established company that has a license to be able to, allow them to, at least the way to get in and get started with it. So the regulatory side, again, it's just dramatically different than it was 15, 20 years ago. And it's a challenge because of the cost involved with it and the knowledge and the availability of being, vetted in a number of jurisdictions and things like that, whether even globally. So it's as it's evolved, it's gotten even tougher, which is just another hurdle for startups.
Well, let me ask you about that. Both of you have worked in the industry a long time and have seen incredible changes to the gaming industry, whether it be iGaming or sports betting and the technology that's being used in this industry. Where do you see the trends going in the near future? When we're talking about startups and entrepreneurs in the gaming industry, where do you see this industry headed, and what do you see as important to keep in mind if you are a startup in the gaming industry?
I think a lot of, sorry, you go, Sue.
No, go ahead.
A lot of the reality of the issues that people have, that operators have, are regulatory compliance, keeping up with that. So that's something I think where, the European leaders, they have stated, that would be something they'd be most inclined to look at first. Ancillary products that are going to take a database and add another level, that's actually, you have to integrate, it goes into the pipeline. It becomes a lot more complicated. But then also, what I like is the community / acquisition retention products, because marketing is not marketing anymore. People have a marketing director, a social media manager. It's not a person. It doesn't exist. It's a strategy. It's, sometimes you have a company that has 30 people that are executing an amazing social media product. And those are the types of things that companies are going to start wanting to acquire, because they can't, their acquisition funnels are just getting more complicated all the time.
And I guess I would add to that, just because we made a decision early on to look not only at a direct gaming product, but those that are adjacent to it. And I would point to whether it's cybersecurity or marketing or fintech, or, there's a whole range of things that are out there. And there might even be some companies that are really very well established in other industries that would be applicable and good for our industry to have. So part of that is taking a look at the broader range of products that are out there. I would really agree on the marketing side, because I think there's quite a shakeup going on right now in the affiliate world.
Yep.
So I think that from an operator standpoint, they're all looking at what other kinds of options are there that would give us direct access. That's why, again, we're looking at a couple that are more fan engagement type of things that not only are good for the gaming industry, but are good for teams and leagues and things like that, to build up those relationships with the fans and the players out there. So that's the part that I think will be kind of fun, actually.
I'm glad Paris mentioned regulations. I mean, as a gaming lawyer and talking to startups as well as talking to established gaming operators, it seems like one of the biggest challenges they both face is innovation. And when I say that, I mean, they always talk to me about their AI products or how they're trying to create customization bets for their customers. However, they always tell me the real challenge comes when, they say they have to innovate, but they also have to stay within the rules and regulations that are different in every jurisdiction. Is that the big challenge that both of you see that a lot of businesses face, especially startups? They have to create and innovate, but they have to do so within the confines of the rules and regulations that are different in every jurisdiction.
Yeah, I think it's particularly problematic in the U.S. because you have, 38 jurisdictions for the sports betting side, at least, not so much on the iGaming side, the casino side. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges. How do you do that? And again, some 25-year-old that's got a great idea is not going to be knowledgeable about that.
Sure.
So that's where, again, they really could use some guidance on that kind of stuff to know what the pitfalls are and how to navigate through that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It's sometimes it's a little bit sad because I feel like if it was more of a broad stroke approach, then, it could be a win-win where there's regulation that creates everything that we want to with responsible gaming, looking out for the customer, giving the customer the best experience, and collecting taxes. Everybody wins. But now it just feels like, it's so discombobulated. Everybody has a different rule for everything. Sure. It becomes cost prohibitive for people that do have innovation to actually, keep the momentum going to create something that could benefit. So, my hope and dream is at some point that it starts getting a bit more aligned and a bit less cumbersome and more back to the basics of what we are all trying to achieve in the beginning.
So I got to ask you, when you're contacted by a person or a startup with an idea or a concept for the gaming industry, what kind of material should they prepare for both of you? I mean, do you both want to see a cover letter first? Do you want to see a business plan? Because I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people out there listening thinking, hey, I got a great idea. I'm just going to contact them. But what do you both want to see from a potential customer or a potential client for Defy the Odds? Sue, why don't you go first?
Well, I mean, I think what we've been getting is decks from people that try to tell their story. And some of them are great. Some of them need some work in terms of if we are going to work with them, how to get it in a shape well enough to go to investors or partners or that sort of thing. So, I think that's probably the one thing that we've consistently gotten from people so far. So that's probably in a nutshell would be a good place to start.
I was going to say the decks are really important. We've also partnered up with Zero Labs. So, they have their cohorts, and then we have the ability to kind of it's a kind of confirm and verify that they're on the right track. Mm-hmm. A lot of times the SMEs there, they help guide and direct, and the people within the organization of Zero Labs, they help guide people and help them understand, your idea is great, but you can't present it as pure passion. It actually has to be a business as well. So, and then talking to people, that's huge. That's when you really can understand. Sometimes the deck looks great, but, once you start talking to them, it doesn't make sense. So I always love that direct contact.
Okay. Well, we're coming up at the end of the year, and I'd like to hear from both of you what you think the new year will hold for Defy the Odds. Give me your business plan for the coming year and what you see Defy the Odds doing and what kind of projects you hope to be working with in the coming months. Paris, why don't you take that?
We are talking to a number of people, as Sue had mentioned earlier. And I think, just to get people up to that next level. I feel, hopefully by the end of next year, we have some people that are positioned. If they'd like to exit, they would have that capability. And just, again, making sure that everybody has the right connections to be the most successful, to have the opportunity to be the most successful, whether that be, a lot of times people have a phenomenal idea, but it's not a business. It's actually a product within a business. So to partner people up and allow their dreams more or less to come to fruition is my goal for the year.
Yeah, I think, again, but I would imagine that's going to be fairly soon that we're going to be able to offer out maybe 5 or 6 that we've decided to work with from the beginning. So getting those, up and running, and they vary. I mean, we really want to kind of concentrate on early stage. And we have some that just have a concept, haven't even incorporated yet, to those that are actually already making a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. So, we've gotten kind of the whole range presented to us. But to get those first set of folks that we're going to work with up and running and into it. It's a tough time, as you may know if you are working with startups. It's a tough time on the investment side.
Sure.
And it has been for a little while. So, but again, I think that's where maybe we have some advantages because we know who all those people are. We know what kind of things they're looking for, what they are currently investing in, and can maybe cut the search process down for the entrepreneur as to, don't just go out and do a big shotgun approach to all these investments, these VC firms, but let's be real targeted. And part of it, I think, is us maybe even being more methodical and having a matrix on which investment group is doing what kind of investments. What do they like? Mm-hmm. What don't they like? What are they staying away from? So, part of it, I think, is some data analysis on our part. And one of the things we haven't talked about is our intent to build a community.
Okay.
So we're actually looking at platforms that will include the investors, the startups, advisors, hopefully some regulators in there to help advise, to do training, to do, a variety of things. So for us internally, I think it's a matter of getting that community up and running, getting a platform that makes sense, to allow for that interaction, to make it easier for those partnerships to come about.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Attention. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, watch this urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by hiring 87,000 new agents to garnish your paycheck and put liens on homes and businesses. They can even seize your bank account. The IRS calls it enforced compliance, and now they have the manpower to get you. Penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily. So call One Stop Tax Relief Shop and get the IRS off your back. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. And no other tax shop gets you more or faster approvals. One Stop Tax Relief has resolved thousands of cases since 2014 and saved clients millions of dollars. Call now for a free consultation. Connect with tax professionals who get the IRS off your back.
Call 800-605-0688. 800-605-0688.
One Stop Tax Relief Shop.
You're listening to House of Cards.
I'm talking sick piles of money. I'm talking lay on your bed in your Vegas room, throw the money in the air, and dance as it showers down on you money. I'm talking frosted glass limo money. I'm talking big cowboy hat, silver turquoise buckle money. I'm talking gambling.
I am in love with you.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishautel with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with Paris Smith and Sue Schneider from Defy the Odds. Well, some big news happened in Missouri, and I can't let this moment pass without asking Sue, who is a Missouri resident, about her feelings about the sports betting in Missouri and the recent ballot proposition in the state. By the narrowest of margins. I can't believe how many times have you come on this show and I kind of, hey, what's going on in Missouri? Nothing? I guess not.
Yeah.
But it looks like something's happening. So what are the next steps for Missouri?
Well, that's a really good question. I think first, I guess it qualified for a recount, so we'll see if anybody wants a recount. Hopefully not. But then they'll get up and running. I do know that the regulators have actually been working on regulatory structure for the last probably year and a half. So I don't think it's necessarily going to take a lot of time for them to get rolling with the structure. I think they're hoping for, maybe by NFL season next year to have everything in place, have people licensed, all that. It's been a journey. There are, I think, 8 states that surround Missouri. Other than Oklahoma, the rest of them all have gaming. I always like to tell the story about the marina where we keep our boat and the The guys from Missouri set up accounts in Illinois with FanDuel or DraftKings and boat over 6 months of the year to the Illinois side of the river. So, I mean, it's been a bleed in many, many ways. So hopefully we're over that. I mean, it was a legislative mess for years because it got caught up in the crossfire with people that have a lot of the illegal slot machines in the state that they wanted to get legalized. And so they had one senator in particular who basically says, well, until you legalize this, we're not going to let you have sports betting. So it's been a struggle, but hopefully we're over that.
So it's possible that Missouri will be the only state next year that will launch sports betting. So obviously the sports betting industry isn't expanding at the rate it has during the past couple of years in this country. So that industry is changing, which is to be expected. In terms of expansion for the entire gambling industry, where do you see that happening? I mean, we've had guests on this show where they talk about expanding online casinos. Lotteries have become an important part of the gaming industry. Esports has become incredibly popular. Brazil has become a really interesting gaming market. Where do you both see the next entrepreneurs making their mark in the iGaming industry? And do you see technology emerging that could benefit all of these different types of gaming at once? Paris, why don't you take that?
That's a slippery slope with the newest sweepstakes conversation.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough one. But, you know...
That's a whole show in itself. So
Exactly.
Yeah,
but, you know,
sure.
The part that's so interesting to me is, you know, I'm hoping that the online... the iGaming, as we call it, becomes more popular. I think the one thing that people don't really appreciate is the lack of regulation, and good regulation creates the black market. Yeah. Whether it's, it's a controversial thing to say, I get that, but I live in the Caribbean, so I can say what I want. But, it literally is, there's the market that's out there that exists today is so massive. And it's because nobody else, they don't have an option. So, I think if we could get past that, and again, in a perfect world, we'd have a more collaborative approach to regulation, that it's not to monopolize and create certain advantages so there's a disadvantage for newcomers. That would be the greatest gift I could see for Christmas this year.
Yeah, I've been both surprised by how quickly the sports betting got legalized and how slowly the iCasino side has gotten legalized. Mm-hmm. I think we're at 38 for sports betting. Well, I guess 39 now if Missouri holds, and 7, I believe, for the iCasino side. And a lot of that has been down to the concern by the land-based operators, many of whom are online already, which is the part that kind of confuses me.
Yeah.
But, they're concerned about cannibalization. And to be honest with you, I mean, I have talked to some that have some data that does show it, not necessarily on the gaming side, but if they look at overall, if they look at their food and beverage, their entertainment, things like that, that they actually feel like they can point to where they've had downturns that they feel like are related to that. So I think until that gets kind of sorted out more, I don't know that there's going to be a lot more, which is what has sort of fed the sweepstakes phenomena. Yeah. And that's going to have to get settled one way or the other. I'll be going next month down to the National Council of Legislators from gaming states, and that is a hot topic on their agenda. So I know it's on their radar, and I would imagine it will get settled pretty soon. But the thing is, there's a demand.
Yeah.
So if people want to play it, and it's not going to be done through a regulated market, then people have found loopholes, which have been very lucrative for some companies. So I think all that stuff will shake out next year.
Okay.
I couldn't predict how, but I do think there'll be more definitive guidelines on that, so that at least the controversy might be over with.
Do you think the sweepstakes issue will be settled by next year? Do you think, in the U.S. anyway, do you think the regulations will be in place for the sweepstakes? And as advisors right now, how do you treat that subject in the iGaming industry? Paris, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, we always stop and take a lot more care in looking at anybody that has anything to do with sweepstakes. I think the reality is the quote unquote loophole that currently exists that allows a sweepstakes is very, very oddly similar to the loophole that allowed daily fantasy.
Yeah.
When we were sports betting, we were like, I can't believe that DraftKings and FanDuel are getting away with this, but they did.
Yeah.
And by golly, who are the two biggest front runners in gaming because they have the biggest databases and they have the biggest, leap ahead. I hope that there is an amicable solution to this, and whereby these sweepstakes companies, they will be the next big competitors if it's done properly. They have the databases, they have the much better tech, which is one of the things that are very appealing to people. So, I really do hope that it is resolved amicably, and it's not, again, maybe DraftKings, FanDuel can appreciate where they came from and understand that it is a transition, from a regulatory perspective, and then allow them to be real competitors so we have a better competitive market in the U.S.
Sue, do you think the sweepstakes issue will be, settled in the new year, or is this going to be more indecision and, trying to figure out what's legal and what's not?
Well, I would actually, I am not a betting person, but I would bet money that there are going to be a number of states that are going to have this on their agenda for the legislative session that will start up in January. If for no other reason that you're going to have, existing gaming operators that are concerned about it, saying to them, look, this needs to get dealt with one way or the other. So that's going to start a whole nother lobbying effort in those states that are going to tackle it. So I think there's going to be some by the end of next year's legislative sessions that have determined a way to navigate through it. I mean, I have no way to predict what those outcomes will be, but it's definitely on the radar. So I think it's going to be something discussed in a lot of state houses next January.
Paris, Sue, we're running out of time, but can you give out your contact information or a website so people want to learn more about you and get in touch with you or learn more about Defy the Odds? They can do so. And if you have any social media addresses you want to give out, please do so.
Okay. Well, we do have a LinkedIn page,
okay,
and we do have a website that's very basic at this point. It's dtolaunchpad.com. The best way is to reach out through that, or you can get really to all three of us that are the founders through LinkedIn. We've all been taking inquiries and suggestions, and again, we've been just really overwhelmed with people that want to help and plug in. So that's been so gratifying.
Yeah.
Paris, any specific way people can reach you?
I'm more the LinkedIn girl for Paris Smith. I'm pretty active on that. But, just to quickly say what Sue's saying, the interest in people that want our support versus the people that want to support what we're doing. I think, just to be clear, the people that want to support what we're doing, that has been so humbling and so exciting and just really driven us to really push this even harder. But yeah, the LinkedIn is the best way to reach me.
Paris Smith and Sue Schneider from Defy the Odds, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about Defy the Odds. I think this is an incredible thing that you're doing for startups, and I think what you're doing is making the gaming industry grow and become stronger. Please come back on and keep us updated about what's happening with Defy the Odds, because I can't wait to hear what projects you're working on. Thanks so much for your time today.
Appreciate it.
Well, that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time with House of Cards.
Riverbed in the dusty